first thing you want to do is make sure you got all the right tools. These are some pry tools that you can pick up either on eBay or Amazon. But different types of pry tools with different style ends on it for releasing the clips. And then we're going to be working today on a Mazda 3S, which is the sport hatchback. All the Mazda 3s are pretty much the same hatchback or sedans. The door disassembly on this 2010 Mazda 3 should be the same on all the 2010, 11, 12s, and 13s. So the first thing to do a speaker removal is to change out the stock speakers. The first thing we're going to do is remove the door panel so that we can gain access to that. So I've made one custom tool here. It's just a small screwdriver that I put a bend on. That screwdriver will allow us to remove one of the parts more easily. So the first thing we want to do is remove this silver part here. We start with our pry tool. We'll start working down in here through the edge, and you'll find just a couple clips on that. You work those. Right. Hold this side open, and we'll start working the other side. Two clips on that side as well. Right, so that pulls off these clips here. Goes the clip in here. All right, and then in here, this back piece here, there's a screw back there. So you pull the handle out, and you can insert a little bent screwdriver in there, and pop that out. Oh, so gently. Oops. Pop that out. Just these two clips here. Hold that in place to gain access to this screw here. Alright, and then the screws we want to take out are going to be this one back in here for Phillips. There, and then there should be one down in here as well. If we can get it out of there. Yeah, they can stay in there. And then the third one that we want to take out is going to be right here in the top of the door panel here. So pop that one out. Just leave it. It's fine. Okay, then the next step we're going to do is we're going to want to take and pop the door panel loose from the bottom. There's clips that go all the way around the side of this door panel here. So what we're going to want to do is slide in here, gain access to it, kind of get an eyeball down in there. These clips break fairly easy, so if you can get a tool in there to help pop these out, great. If not, you may break a few of them. It's not that big of a deal. You can pick them up pretty inexpensively as well from a eBay or Amazon. All right, so then once the door panel is loose, we need to get this piece out here that operate the handle operator. So we want to use our thin pry tool here and get that inside. Once we pop that out, this doesn't come out, but as you lift up on this, you can turn that, pivot that, and the door panel will come off. Behind the door panel, you'll have some electrical connections that operate the window here. So you just have to reach in back here and pull that clip out. You push this button, pull the clip, that. Then you have full access then to the factory stock speakers. Okay, you can see that it's a plastic molded speaker, paper cone, pretty low quality speaker. First thing we want to do is go ahead and unattach the speaker connection. Then using your Phillips screwdriver, take out the 4 screws holding the speaker in place. Alright, and then from there, speaker comes out. You can see the stock speakers, very low quality magnet, paper woofer, and you've got a nice open hole here for a new speaker. However, if you're using a new speaker, such as like what we're putting in here, some Polk speakers, pretty much everywhere you look says that these speakers won't fit this car. And the reason being is because if you mount them just straight in these stock holes, they're too deep. When the window comes down, they hits the magnet. So what we're going to do, and what I'm going to show you how to do here in the next video, is how to use this existing frame here as a bracket to hold the speaker. So we're going to put the Polk in place of the factory speaker, but we're going to use this frame as an offset. So one of the first things we're going to do is poke this out. Pull the old speaker out of undone here. Pull the old voice coil out. Pull the old speaker connections off there. And pull this surround out. Alright, so we're going to do that. And then we're going to use our jigsaw and cut this entire bracket system, this whole frame, the back part of this speaker. We're going to use a jigsaw to cut that out. So I'll show you that here in just a second. Alright, so now we've got the speaker, we've got our handy dandy jigsaw here, and what we're going to try to do is manufacture a nice bracket so that this Polk speaker fits nicely inside of there, so we can use this as a mounting bracket for our 2010 Mazda 3 hatchback. So we're going to flip this sucker over. First thing we're going to do is fire up the jigsaw. Alright, we're going to cut right along the edge of this bracket, all the way around. Alright, this one's a little tricky. You want to make sure you don't hit these connections here where the wires come through from the factory harness to the old voice coil. So this cut needs to be a little bit more gentle. So we don't tear that connection off there, because we're going to reuse that later to be able to solder the connections to the new speaker so we can use the existing factory harness. Okay, that easy. Pop that out. Now we've got a nice bracket that we can stick our Polk speaker into, wherever I did with that. Alright, so we got our new Polk speaker. It's going to go in here. Now if you notice, when you put the Polk in there, it doesn't fit perfect. You've got this lip right here, right, to hold that up. So you have a couple of different options. You could take this bracket that Polk provided and you can insert that on the other side, but you have to do a little bit of trimming of the bracket itself. Or what I prefer to do is go ahead and take and either cut that out with a razor knife, or cut it. What I'm going to do is sand it down on my belt sander to give me a nice flat surface there so we can mount to. What we don't want to do is get the speaker in there so it's crooked or it's bound up in any way when we go to mount it, because it'll affect the woofer itself, and the speaker won't sound the same if we torque it, unevenly. So let's do this. We're going to come over here to the belt sander and we'll sand that part down. Alright, so what we're looking for here is trying to get a nice smooth surface. Still got a little bit of a high edge right here. So we got a little bit of stuff to peel off the edge here. Let's peel that back. Get a nice level, flat surface there now. All right. So if we go back to our Polk speaker, we can see that that fits nice and flat all the way around. It's going to give us a nice place to mount. Now on these Polks, it does come with this ring here, and in the Mazda I've noticed that you don't really need it, so you can untape that. That's just there as a spacer really if you're flush mounting from the front, which we're not. We're mounting from the back. Again, like I said, if you need the extra clearance, you could put this on the back side and mount it to this. If you need the extra magnet clearance on the Polks, they're not too deep, so we should be in good shape. We can just remove that ring and go ahead and mount that speaker right in there. And if you notice on the Polks and most 5x7s that those holes are going to line up right there. So that's going to go right back into our door panel, mount in there. What we're going to do next is create two small little jumpers, and we're going to solder from the speaker terminals here directly to the factory harness for hookup. These are good efficient speakers, run well on the stock head unit, should be in good shape. The other part that you can do, or one of the things you need to note, is let's see if I can find them real quick. And of course not. Yeah, we can move somewhere. Well, at any rate, I'll find the screws and then I'll show that to you in the next video. What? I have screws that are... Okay. Alright, one of the things we're going to do here is check so that we know which one of the factory speaker wires in this factory speaker harness, which one's positive, which one's negative. In this case, this is Mazda 3 2010. We're going to be reusing the existing factory speakers as a bracket, which also gives us the ability to use the factory harness. So when we're installing our new speakers, we need to make sure that we're connecting them up in proper phase, positive to positive, negative to negative, so we don't end up with a speaker that's out of phase. To do so, you need a multimeter, one preferably that does a real low detection of DC voltage. So we're going to put it on our lowest setting here, and we're going to touch the two together. It shows that our meter is zeroed out. Okay. So once our meter is zeroed out, we can connect what we believe is the positive to one of the terminals, and what we believe is the negative. And what we expect to see in the multimeter is a positive reading. In this case, it's showing 9 to 10 millivolts. You have to have the radio playing when you're doing this. If the radio is off, you won't get a reading because the stereo system's not sending any signal down the wire. But in this case, the system is on, playing a song at a really low volume. If you have a higher volume, you'll get a higher voltage. But in our case, we're just looking for a difference between positive and negative. So we can determine now, because our red is going to the green wire, that our green is positive, and the red or the black is going to the white wire, so we can determine that that's our negative terminal. As you can see, if you switch them around, right, so put the black on the green, now on our multimeter it shows a negative reading here. It's a lot easier than trying to track down documentation from your automobile. If you have that, great. I know I've got some documentation around here. It tells me how to install the speaker system, how to install the stereos, which wires are which. But this is a great way just to rectify that once and for all. Now I just need to tin these that are going on the other end here. Alright, and then I need to tin the speaker terminals themselves here. We'll drop them. We'll drop there. And then this one here. And all right, so then that's done. All right, so now we've got the factory harness wired through, positive and negative in the proper configuration, going to the speaker. Now we use the right length screws here. So we're looking for a screw that will go through our Polk speaker frame and directly through the back frame. Like so. All right, and we're gonna mount that directly into stock speaker's location, just like so. These will line up exactly where they need to line up, and then we just pop the new harness right in here, and voila. So what we'll do is you just take that, and screw that down. Now one of the things you want to make sure of here is you don't over tighten this, because you'll affect the performance of the speaker if you over tighten these. So you just want to get them snug. You want to get them snug where they're not rattling, but they're not super tight. Okay. Notice it's all going into the factory locations here. So I'm not drilling any holes, I'm not cutting up my car. I did have to destroy the factory speaker, but beyond that, completely 100% factory locations, plenty of mounting depth, all the crutch field, what will fit in my car. Very little will go in a Mazda 3. These fit real good, fit real nice in there. Great coaxial little speaker, real efficient speaker. Works real well in this vehicle. Alright, I hope this helps somebody out there. We're going to put the door panel back on. We're going to pop the clips back in. Pop this back in. It's pretty self-explanatory. If you can take it out, you can put it back. If you have any questions, drop it in the comments, and we'll try to get those answered for you. Thanks a lot.